How's it going, everybody? It's C-RadTV back here in our video. So, of course, it's time for another Detroit Lions NFL draft preview. So, in the last draft preview, we wrapped up the wide receiver class by taking a look at the top day 3 wide receiver prospects in the 2022 draft. And in this part, we're going to take a look at the top day 3 tight end prospects for rounds 4 through 7 in the drafts. And there's quite a few tight ends to take a look at, for some depth positioning. Since tight end is somewhat of a need, and maybe the Lions could use another tight end or two. So anyway, we're going to take a look at the top day 3 tight end prospects and see who the Lions should possibly take a look at for rounds 4 through 7. So anyway, let's go. So the first tight end we're going to go over here, hailing out of Oregon State, standing 6'5", weighing 258 pounds. We got Tegan Witkowski. That last name's a bit of a tongue twister. Anyway, for Tegan's strength, has an excellent frame, great height, weight, and length, has enormous catch radius, is going to play a big role when defenders are fighting with him at the catch point. He has great downfield speed, enough to beat defensive backs. He covers a lot of ground as routes and can't be locked down by most linebackers. His body control and ball tracking make him a threat on the deep ball. He's able to slam the brakes and gear down on short notice on his routes. His length allows him to consistently walk out against linebackers as a run blocker. In terms of his weaknesses, though, his accuracy and control when trying to land as a second-level blocker is disappointing. Too often he seems lost when he tries to find a target. He's not particularly dynamic after the catch. His anchor isn't ideal, and it will lead to him getting overwhelmed against defensive ends. He struggles to maintain his leverage as a pass blocker. He's not as laterally quick as expected given his other movement skills. He may be restricted working in the slot and as a halfback until he can get stronger in the run game. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Josh Oliver at the Baltimore Ravens, so has a lot of upside, but a few limitations and things to clean up, so maybe someone to keep an eye on. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Coastal Carolina, standing 6'4", weighing 240 pounds, we got Isaiah Likely. So for Isaiah's strengths, he's an exceptional athlete for the position, gets out of his brakes and slams the brakes and with immediate speed. He's tough to cover in one-on-one situations while drawing a lot of contact. He has surprisingly good hand strength relative to his size. He's an easy accelerator, can cover a lot of ground when he works vertically. He's much more aggressive with his blocking once he reaches the defensive backs. Has swift movement skills and size, can lead to usage on some screens in the Coastal Carolina offense, so he could be used on screenplays. Boots up well very quickly when he works from the slot, and he tracks the deep ball very well. He's also been listed as one of those small school studs, so he's someone to kill in a small school district because he can run into 4.5s at a large wide receiver frame, and it creates a lot of visions and comparisons to at a former NFL tight end, Antonio Gates. If you're good at some comparisons to Antonio Gates, then you're doing something right in life. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he has a slender build, which is more fitting for a receiver than a tight end. He may be too thin to work near the line of scrimmage, could be forced into the slot full-time as a slot receiver. He tends to turn out on backside blocks and doesn't work as a saint or the whistle. He's not aggressive enough with attacking the catch point and playing with urgency back to the ball. His gap in play strength in the NFL could blindside him given some of his issues. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's also been compared to Gerald Everett of the Seattle Seahawks. So, has a lot of upside, but he's very slim and could maybe go as a receiver in the slot. So, maybe some versatility there. So, maybe someone to consider for versatility for sure. So, the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Washington, standing 6'4", weighing 243 pounds. We got Kadeem AuDay. So for Cade's strengths, he has balance and body control, which is promising as a blocker. Has a reliable short game target who can be a safety blanket for his QB. So he's creative with his technique when he heads into route breaks. He fights through the whistle as a blocker, won't give up on plays even when he's struggling. He's sharp with his change of direction as a route runner. He won't round off into turns. Has quick adjustment to deal with poorly placed passes. In terms of weaknesses, though, he struggles to reset and gather himself after getting shocked by power from edge rushers. His angle sustainability lapses are going to be a bigger problem as a pro. He's not sticky enough in the run game. He's not dynamic enough to create his own yardage after the catch. His catch radius is also average by NFL standards, and he loses too many passes out of his hands uncontested. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Troy Fumagalli of the New England Patriots. So, a lot of upside for sure. Could be used as like a safety blanket for like a check down. You know, a lot of few things that he's going to have to clean up for sure. But maybe someone to consider and keep an eye on. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Nevada, standing 6'6", weighing 246 pounds. We got Cole Turner. So for Cole's strengths, he brings some nasty to his game and will line up small defenders as a blocker. Has good ball tracker with a great catch radius. Knows how to control himself and adjust for passes. He has capable hands, syncs up well with the ball, comfortable working outside, and has plenty of experience working as a slot receiver. Natural back shoulder target, can flip and adjust with ease. Also had an invite to the Senior Bowl and had a solid showing there. In terms of his weaknesses, though, his balance to contact is questionable, and he has a hard time recovering. He's going to get pushed around a lot more by restrictive NFL opposition. His linear and high-cut body type, it may be the root of some of his balance issues. He struggles to make sharp change of direction or gear down, heads into his route breaks. Frame doesn't have room to add too much weight. He'll always been a bit too slender for comfort. His route speed and overall urgency, it fluctuates too often, so he's got to learn to stay at one certain speed. And often he throws out his shoulder rather than use improper technique as a blocker. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Kobe Parkinson of the Seattle Seahawks. So, a lot of upside for sure. A few things to like for sure, but a lot of things he's got to have to clean up. Maybe someone to consider, you know, for development a couple years down the line. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of San Diego State, standing 6'4", weighing 252 pounds. We got Daniel Belliner. So for Danielle, he's your prototype blocking tight end, so he's very good blocking in the run, like for passing, run blocking too. In terms of strength, he's able to maintain control through the catch process even when defenders are on his back. Has good form as a receiver, quick to get oriented downhill and form as a receiver. Downhill and switching to run mode once the ball is in his hands. His balance and play strength's impressive. He rarely gets out of control in contact situations. Sturdy runner, can put up a fight before he goes down. Has some flashes with his technique along with his routes. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he's a mediocre athlete. Labored stride when he gets going downfield. He rounds off on his turns, has to coast into some of his route breaks due to flexibility limitations. He struggles to mirror defenders laterally and will whiff on his block attempts in space. He is heavy on his feet and lacks any nimble moments as a route runner. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to David Wells of the Arizona Cardinals, so a lot of things to like for sure. A couple things he's going to have to clean up, though, especially in a couple of things on his block attempts. He's going to have to get a little bit better at blocking. Hey, there's always room for improvement, but yeah, this is someone definitely to keep an eye on and consider for sure. And the final tight end, the final player we're going to go over in this video, we have hailing out of Virginia Tech, standing 6'4", weighing 248 pounds. We got James Mitchell. So for James' strengths, he's a polished receiver with reliable hands. Ball skills and ball tracking are jump off his tape. Effortful blocker, will look for work and will play to the whistle. Has hand placement on initial strike is solid. He's controlled in a fluid combo blocker, can transition smoothly between targets. He's able to maintain a stride through the catch point. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he doesn't have the strength to muscle linebackers or control them in the run game. He lacks the ideal bulk and strength to work as an inline blocker at a high volume. Too easily shucked off by linebackers. His average lateral mover struggles to slip past defenders or make sharp change of direction. He's not a physically imposing player downfield. His routes are more general than precise, and he's not much of a technician. Not particularly dynamic after the catch. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Tommy Sweeney of the Buffalo Bills, so a lot of things to like for sure, but there's a few question marks in his game. Couple things to clean up, but yeah, maybe someone that can take a gamble with and hope he develops well in a couple years. But yeah, anyway, that'll wrap it up here for this Detroit Lions NFL draft preview. So yeah, there's quite a few tight ends to take a look at and consider for sure. Maybe some guys that end up being like a depth piece or backup role to Hawkinson, since the Lions are in a position where they could use another tight end or two for depth. But yeah, definitely some names to keep an eye on, consider for sure. We may have some more names I didn't discuss that could fall later on in the draft, you know. It does happen, but, you know, definitely some names to keep an eye on and consider for sure, since rounds 4 through 7, like I mentioned before, are more depth, our draft or routes for draft depth positions. But yeah, anyway, that'll wrap it up here. We got one more offensive draft preview, which next one will be on the offensive line for day 3. So we'll be looking at all the top offensive linemen, offensive tackles, guards, and centers for the offensive line. And then we got the remainder of the defense ones. But yeah, you got that to look forward to in the future. But yeah, anyway, that'll wrap it up here. And that's all I got to say, and I'll see you on whatever I make next. Peace.